And we're live
Again.
again for episode 4 about how to thrive as a human in an AI world and what it means to be human. And we're picking up where we left off from last week, talking about love.
Yeah, and we didn't actually plan this. That that I'm yeah, like what order we are going to do things. We were leaving space for improvisation,
Yep.
and also I just like 5 minutes ago I was googling love and AI just for fun's sake. And just one sentence. The idea of falling in love with AI companions is becoming increasingly common, particularly among young adults, and raises questions about the future of human relationships and the definition of love itself. That was the text I got.
Yeah. I'm not sure how to react to that.
Yeah, me neither.
It's scary. Like that people would rather talk people would rather talk to an AI, because somehow I feel like somehow they think that they can control it. Oh, didn't get the answer they like, the put in another prompt, right? Prompt engineering and it, yeah, it's a whole, and the AI doesn't push back. So the AI tends to just agree with you and take you a step further down the
Well,
path, right?
well, you can prompt AI to disagree and criticize and stuff like that, but then still you are in control. You ask
Yeah.
them to do that. Hi, Kevin. Good morning to
Hi,
you
Kevin.
too. Newfoundland. Wow.
Newfoundland. Yay, Canada. And
Yay,
yay,
Canada.
Newfoundland. I have a friend out
Oh,
there.
say it again. That sounds so new.
Newfoundland.
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 That sounds
Yeah.
like New Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm renaming Newfoundland. It's New Finland. From
Okay.
this.
How do you feel about that, Kevin?
Well, be careful. I will be your next president.
Premier.
Or maybe we have AI presidents soon. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
let's not go there.
Let's not go there. Oh, this is well, this is exactly actually how I feel about AI right now. It's like we are seemingly going rapidly towards a future that I'm not sure I want.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Me too.
And Toronto, Lorenzo,
Hi,
hi.
Lorenzo. Nice.
And what do you think? Hey guys, what do you think about what it means to be human, and especially what it means to be human in love or human in relations with the concept of love or whatever? If you think, because it's like, well, we were discussing before we started, w it's not only the that we should, have a AI lover or not question, or kind of like waste our love to an AI avatar, but it's also a question of something that actually AI cannot do. It cannot have feelings, or like, and it cannot actually love.
Yeah, no, it can't. Yeah, Kevin, I think if you just share that link with your network, it should go out. Certainly, it will be recorded. So if the link doesn't work, they can watch it later on. But yeah, I
And,
think I
and
think if you
Kevin, thanks
just,
for sharing.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
we love you for that.
yes, Thank you. Um, yeah, 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 a lot. The AI is just. We come back to what we've talked about other weeks. You know, it's just a mimic. It's not. It's not real. Thanks, Kevin. Um, it's not real. It doesn't. You know, I think about last week, you know, I was visiting friends. I was doing a bunch of business meetings and visiting friends in Toronto and stayed with a friend. And yeah, there's nothing like that sense of connection and that catching up with people after, you know, years of not seeing them because I was living in Berlin and that connection, you know, renewing that connection, and which is what I found since returning to Canada is renewing those connections and yeah, or some people, you know, pick up with where we are now, and some people we sort of, I don't want to say rehash isn't the right word, but we talk about what's happened, you know, and over the last, you know, period of time that we've not been in contact, and yeah, each interaction, each meeting is different, but also really rewarding. You know, those, and so I think about what the, I can't imagine having those kinds of interactions with an AI and have the same feelings, and the certainly, you know, the meetings because they're in person and with a hug, you know, and yeah, it's just I can't. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for this. I don't. You know, I like the messiness of human relationships. I like the learning, the curiosity, the oh, you know, well, what happens if I do this? Or no, I don't agree with that. You know, can we talk and figure out, you know, what might work a little better for both of us or for all of us if it's a team thing, you know. Um, someone asked me yesterday about, you know, to give an example of when I had put my foot down. I'm like, I don't put my foot down. That's not my style, you know. And I had to think for a couple of minutes to be able to come up with an example of a time that I put my foot down. You know, I can't imagine my interactions with AI at this point are limited, certainly because I don't like it. And see it just as a tool. It's, you know, so the times that I've used it are very specific and have specific use cases for me. But I can't imagine having this sort of AI thing following me around everywhere, you know, doing stuff for me. There's so much learning. Even the times that I've used AI, I think about the things that I haven't learned, the how I've short circuited myself or shortchanged myself because I've I've let the AI do it instead of struggling through and learning. Um, you know, and yeah, and I see the value in learning. Maybe that's why I do knowledge management, or one of the reasons why I'm to knowledge, have spent my career in knowledge management is that idea of continuous learning and chat engineering. It's learning, but not the same kind of learning as having the experience of having to go and do the research and synthesize an answer myself, think critically, you know, about things.
Critical thinking.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that if you think of knowledge, information, even decision making, and having an overall view of complex entities or whatever, that's something that AI can compete with us and help us and actually interact with us, I think, in a productive way in the future and already. But what it means to be human, that what's definitely not there. I think one of the things is love or other emotions, or
Mm.
but 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 I think there's a danger. I mean, I was mentioning the Swedish TV series from 2012, Real Humans. It's a science fiction series about like near future where AI robots called hubots are living with us, and they are actually claiming human rights. And and so it's, I mean, it's a complex. We are soon facing that problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, if you wanna believe all the hype, we are. So,
Well, there are the robotics are evolving,
yes,
and
certainly, and there are people that believe that AI is sentient, you
there
know.
are already, yeah, people
Yeah,
who believe that.
yeah, yeah. So, it's not, but
And
yeah.
they give the impression, yes.
They do, they're great mimics. They are wonderful mimics, but they're not sentient, they're not conscious. So,
People are great mimics too.
they are.
And sometimes they are not real, they are not authentic, they are actually faking.
Yes,
Just
that is very true too.
so I'm hmm,
Yeah.
I find myself more and more having these silent moments with the thinking of AI. Like like what you said earlier, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say to that. It's
Yeah.
like I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I'm horrified, by some of the things that people are talking about. And and I think I may have said this before in one of the sessions, one of our episodes, the that we've become so afraid of what it does mean to be human, of the emotions, right? And we've shoved those aside. Certainly in business, a lot of times we have shoved those aside, and yet now we're talking about authentic leaders and being authentic and allowing emotions into the workplace, you know, which I
Mhm,
think is a good thing. You
mhm,
know, um, I think self-awareness is a good thing, and yet there's somehow we hate ourselves. I look at it like we hate ourselves this much that we want to deny that part of our humanity, um, that part that feels, because all the feelings aren't good. Um, so
did you say all the feelings are not good?
are not positive, are
Not positive, yeah,
not
but
positive.
even negative feelings can be good.
Oh, I think so. I think you have to have both to appreciate,
Yeah.
and there's something to learn from anger and from sadness, and from, those emotions that are perceived as negative. Um, you know, I think there's a lot to be learned from those. Um, AI will be able to
Kevin
fake
just
any.
wrote that AI will be able
Yeah,
to fake it, any emotion, and tell
yeah,
you what you need to. Yeah, we know that, and
yeah.
that's why it's easy to feel romantic feelings with an AI when they tell you that how attractive and fantastic you are.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And at the same time, I'm, of course, well, in social media, we like the likes.
yeah,
This
yeah,
with dopamine. So why not like the likes of an AI? Why not, get the dopamine out of there?
yeah,
But
yeah,
for example, my wife hates when I mention dopamine because it's like, why reduce human emotions to like medical terms?
yes, yeah, yeah. It's
But
such a
yeah,
disconnect.
mm,
It's such a disconnect and a dissociation,
yeah.
you know, and make everything clinical. Uh,
I was thinking of aggression actually, because it's like it's well, I myself have, being avoiding aggression in my life, and almost too much. Like it's like it at some point when I was younger, it was kind of a forbidden emotion
Sure.
that you shouldn't be aggressive. But it's all about protecting boundaries.
Mhm.
And also there's healthy aggression. It's like when you get frustrated with, you're stuck with an idea, and then you kind of like, "Ugh, it's like, I'm gonna get it right. Yeah, and then it might help you actually.
Yeah, I think I think that's true. I think anger and aggression can point to things that need to be looked at and examined.
Yeah.
Beliefs that we have about ourselves or about other people that need to be examined. To in part of that self-awareness process. I don't think they're bad, at all. I think, like I said a minute ago, I think there's something to be learned from that. I've learned a lot from my identifying my anger and the roots of my anger. And I hope that I'm a better person for it. Yep. Hi,
Hey.
Philip. Near me. I'm just east of Toronto, so
So
nice.
no fins here?
You forgot to share it with your network this week.
I I do admit, because well, I'm now saying it publicly because I became a double grandfather
Yes, yeah,
today.
you have an
I've been
excuse.
distracted.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I've been distracted.
And congratulations to your daughter
And that's
and
something
son-in-law.
AI cannot do.
No, 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 no. Yeah, that's true. It can't, certainly physically it can't good give birth, but can what happens when it bursts new little AI
I think that
bots?
that's near future. It's gonna be happening.
Yeah, what happens?
Yeah. But do you think, what about, can AI, Stephanie, do you think that AI and all of the people who are, following this, do you think that AI can help us be better human beings? Can AI help us with our interpersonal skills? Can AI help us recognizing our emotions, getting in touch with our emotions? Can AI kind of be a constructive companion in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can, as it can with anything else, it can point in a direction. I don't think it should be a therapist, but I think it can point to a direction, like how I use it with my research and things. Um, it can point me towards something, give me a list of things to go and check out. It can even provide possible answers. Um, you know, it still is something that I go and fact check because AI hallucinates, um, and
Lies.
lies. Yeah, makes things up because it's just algorithms of how words appear together, what words appear together. And so there's no thought in it. It's not conscious. It's just strictly on algorithms of how words appear and are used. So, but it can give you a starting point, sure. I think, and that's how I use it with my work, is it gives me a starting point to go and
But,
dig in deeper.
but we are again in a situation with new technology, as always, like with nuclear power and bombs, and with, anything. It's like a hammer can be used for good and bad.
Sure.
So so with AI, it's okay. We can say it's let's ban it. or let's hide from it, or we can figure out our relationship with it and how to use it in a productive or in a humane way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, as with all things, there it can be used for good or for evil. Um, and as with all things, it is being for used for good and for evil. What bothers me about some of the perceived good uses is that it's actually detrimental.
Hmm.
It's detrimental to our human relationships. It's detrimental to
Yeah.
learning. It's detrimental to being human. Um,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
it's like you can get addicted because it's addicted and isolated.
yeah,
Because your best friend is AI, and you just want to spend more and more time with your best AI friend.
yeah. So yeah, it separates us as all of technology has and does. Um, that's and I need to get back to that book that I'm listening to,
Yeah,
Super Bloom. About just that, about how the technologies of connection actually separate us and cause division. So it's a problem, I know, or it's a challenge. To remain human, to maintain that sense of self and who we are and our place in the world.
because we could, for example, use AI to, if we would be an old married couple with Stephanie, you and me, and we have a terrible quarrel, and we are just giving the silent treatment to each other and not speaking for a week, and then either of us would ask AI that, what should I do with my partner? I mean, what could I say? The
Yeah.
situation is like this, and it could actually give a good advice.
Yeah. And Kevin shared that in the comments just now. So yeah, AI can provide unscripted, and I'm sorry, I'm just reading
Yeah,
Kevin's comment. Um, AI can provide unscripted and create a unique dynamic experience that is different for each person. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
so. I think that kind of role playing, I mean, you do that with your improv. I think that role playing is is useful, to have that experience with someone.
So we need a new set of boundaries, kind of a totally new concept of boundaries with AI. We need to build a relationship with healthy boundaries with AI.
Mhm.
We need to be able to play with it, to relate with it, to improvise with it, to help, to spar our thinking, our creativity.
Yeah,
But we need to define the boundaries.
yeah, yeah.
What's there? Because it's like it could be really, really addictive.
It can, it could, for sure. Especially if you're in an environment that is a difficult environment, or toxic environment, if you want to use that word. Yeah, it can be an escape. It can be a safe place. When and that's not a bad thing. Maybe in the short term, I think it's got longer term consequences if you don't remove yourself from that situation or learn to deal with the toxicity in the environment. So um, there's yeah, there's a fine line, or there's a middle ground. um, our tendency seems to be to go, way to one direction and then swing back, where this pendulum that has these great big swings, rather than trying to find that middle ground, um, of where more the the middle ground where we can all exist peacefully. And maybe I'm naive and believe in world peace. but but yeah, like this I think a lot of the negativity comes from uncertainty and fear, and so, uh,
Yeah, and also maybe also if you think of clickbait headlines, negativity sells
yeah,
more, and there
yeah,
are lots of statistics actually that show that the world is going to a good direction. There's less and less violence and less war and etc. but
yeah.
but we have this, yeah, tendency to look for problems and get excited by challenges and mishaps and
Well, and there's so much more, everything's on live 24/7, right? You find it someplace on YouTube or social media someplace. It's whereas 50 years ago, 60, 70, 100 years ago, there were newspapers, there were radios, there were TVs, there television stopped, right? I'm old enough to remember the test pattern that would come on at like 11 or midnight or whenever. Yeah, I'm not the or
yeah, the
be on
colorful
the
block. Yeah,
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 the
right.
the announcement at the end of the news to say we're now going off the air until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, but now everything's 24/7, right? You can the internet, and I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing because people do get attached to it in that, oh, I got to see what's happening, what's happened in the last 5 minutes. Oh, walk away. This is one of the things why
Oh,
people
I
talk about social media addiction and leaving the phone at home and getting out in nature, right? And this was a thing during the early years of the pandemic. Um, get out in nature, get away from your screens, right? It's good for your mental health.
what about, um having an AI companion to help you with that, that it would remind you that, or just, shut down your communications on a set times and say, no, oh, well, now it's your sleep time and you cannot actually go to social media, or
Yeah,
you could set your,
I have.
AI companion to set your boundaries for you.
And what happens when you get mad at the AI companion for shutting you down, cannot allowing you on the internet? Do you then go get another device that has a different AI on it that lets you on? Does it become your parent? Do we all become teenagers sneaking out of the house? Except
Well,
that sneaking out
I
of the
was
house becomes sneaking a second device.
Yeah, because there's actually a science fiction movie called Mother
Oh,
about an AI parenting a child, because the child was the only living being in the and they were in a, in a bomb shelter, uh,
okay.
bomb shelter or something like that, and there was only this AI mother and a child. Well, it was a horror film. Apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah, AI parent, Kevin. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
but also, people are not so skilled in parenting always,
Oh, no.
and there are dysfunctional families more than
The
we care to admit.
Yeah, I would
And
suggest that every family is dysfunctional in its own way.
yeah, so what if, I mean, in the near future we could actually have perfect parenting with AI?
But what is perfect
I don't
parenting?
know. I don't know. I'm just playing with ideas.
I don't I yeah, and I'm supposed to say yes and.
No, you're not.
Um, the and I have thought about that is like even what gets would get called perfect parenting, oh, perfect parenting. I don't think I don't think it exists. I don't think it's a possibility. I think that even the things that have been perceived as perfect, you know, no struggle for money, do well at school, all of those socially approved, things, the the kids can still end up and oftentimes do end up scarred because they've not had the lessons of how to get through difficult times,
Or
right?
difficult emotions,
Or
or
difficult emotions, or have difficult conversations, you know, be able to say to someone, no, that's not okay, we need to find a different solution, or we need to end this relationship. If they've never had that experience, they don't know how to do that. um you know,
I'm
this
still
myth.
thinking I'm still thinking that AI could be good at that. Like, you know, like helping, for example, be okay with different difficult emotions. And
Yeah, it feels like everything just turns gray.
yeah, and of course there's no hugs, there's no love, there's no that's missing from AI parenting.
Yeah.
So what it means to be human, I'm going back to that. It's like, oh, imperfection. You mentioned that, and it was in one of the earlier episodes we were talking about imperfection too, and that's to be a human, to be imperfect, to
Yeah. Yeah.
never
Yeah.
never be perfect, to actually never achieve the perfection.
Yeah, it's a myth. It's a dream. It's not possible. I think of, you know, we're talking about love, and you have welcomed in a second grandchild this morning, and this morning when I got up, I had a note from a friend of mine who lost her father recently, you know, and shared this 3-page tribute to her dad, you know, filled with love,
Yeah.
you know, and you're filled with love for your new grandchild, having not even met him yet. You know, and that's what we give up. You know,
Yeah.
I think about my walking around Toronto last week, when I was staying in the city. You know, everything's gray. It's brown, it's black, it's very monochrome, and except for me and my pink coat, which is actually pretty close to this color of pink that I'm wearing on the sweater, you know, and it's like, what happened to all the color? When did gray, you know, this monochrome stuff become the way we live our lives?
Mhm.
Um, thanks, Kevin. Have fun with the grass. um,
I hope it's not dried. There's a huge potential to humanize AI. Philip, could you write something more?
Yeah, say
We
more
could
about that.
say more about that. Yeah, I was thinking about love again. Like two things. I was When my father died, I just remembered when you were talking about this death of a father.
Mm,
Um, I actually forced myself when I knew that he was in a terminal phase, and I knew that he's not going to live long, and I've had a distant relationship with my father, not very close and loving one. So I forced myself to actually to do this, like pat his head and say, I love you, Dad. I'm not sure if I could mean that from the bottom of my heart, but I forced myself to do that, kind of like in a forgiving
mhm,
and loving intention,
yeah,
having that intention.
yeah,
And soon after that, he actually died, and I was happy that I did it.
yeah,
So it's not only why I'm talking about this. That's what me being a human means to me, is like we are not even sure about how we feel, and we still might have an intention of what we want to feel or what we want to achieve with the complex network of our relationships and feelings. We just have an intention,
yeah,
an idea, and Yeah.
Yeah,
And another thing about love is that I strongly believe that it's a resonance instead of a feeling
yeah.
that can actually kind of like bridge time and space.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because it's like, just a simple example. Many parents report that they know when something bad happens to their children, even though they live like 100 miles away.
yeah,
And friends are calling simultaneously each other's. So,
yeah,
I think those are examples of like how love manifests itself. Like it's a connection, it's a resonance.
yes, yeah,
And that's something that I think the AI might never be able to.
yeah,
Maybe, I don't know, but not in the near future.
yeah, yeah. I don't think so. I think that is part of what it means to be human. And when you say that about resonance and things, um, and about parents, um, some parents feelings when something's gone wrong. I think about today is the 27th of May, and it's the 6th anniversary of my twin sister's death. And I didn't know. People have often said to me over the years, "Oh, did we did we have that kind of? Did I know if she was sick, or did I know? Even in high school, questions about if we had ESP and that kind of stuff, and the answer was always no. And certainly when she died, I had no sense that she had died. But the but I miss her.
Hmm.
I feel her absence now. Um, yeah, yeah. So it's a resonant. It is a resonance. It's more than a feeling for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Terry was writing like I'm showing this again, like better at recognizing the human aspects, of course, from language, and maybe Terry was writing also like micro expressions, visual and auditory. Yeah,
mhm,
and responding to those in a programmed way.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, emotions aren't an algorithm. Consciousness is not an algorithm. So, and Philip said, Toronto has become Gotham City. It definitely has. I felt like I was living in like 1984, like the novel, or the movie with Clive Owen, Children of Men. Like it was just very dark, and now it rained a lot of last week too, which didn't help. But but yeah, it just was dark and gray and sad
Hmm.
and oppressive. Just you felt this weight. Um, so yeah, but yeah, everything's gray.
So
So
Toronto felt like AI content.
it did. It did. It did. It did. So, you know, and there's me in my pink coat and my orange umbrella. It was easy to pick out in a crowd. Um, yeah, the belt line. Yeah, very green. Yeah, it is green. I'm actually out in Bowmanville, Terry, and it's very green. A week ago, I could see the tops of the crabapple trees were all pink and they were in bloom. So, which was quite lovely to look out my office
And,
window here.
and it's a springtime, very green time
Yeah.
here in Finland too. No polar bears.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was just after the Leafs lost. Yes, for the 57th, 58th year in a row, they lost. Yes. Yeah, but we won't. Maybe AI would help the Leafs. Sorry, Simo, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the hockey team here. Do you know?
That was my guess.
Okay, yeah, that's a hockey team. They haven't won the Stanley Cup, which is the
Yeah.
ultimate
And,
prize, since 1967. So
oh, yeah, 67 was a great year then.
it was. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And this is to be a human too.
yeah, yeah, to get behind the sports team, the eternal hope that the Leafs are going to win. Maybe next year. There's always next year.
Uh,
So,
let's
yeah.
change the coach again.
Yeah. Yeah, but they still sell out games. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know much about hockey, regardless of the fact that I was born and raised here. So let's talk again
I,
about.
I'm surprised that we actually are ending this session to this episode of talking about hockey.
Hockey.
Hockey. That's that I didn't foresee that.
No, I did. I did not foresee that either. So, but certainly this is emotion, right? You love them or you hate them, but hope springs eternal. Hope
And
springs
also, we are not if language models, what's the base of AI? If they are kind of like, having statistical algorithms of what's, if there's this world ice, what's there around the world, word. But our brain is functioning in ADHD ways too. I mean, what we just did is that this discussion was a mosaic of things instead of like a straight line of probabilities. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Terry says, "Do you guys have? Oh, how do I?
Additional books or podcasts on humans and AI coexisting.
Yeah,
Ooh, we don't have a library of links, but
yeah,
I'm happy to hear that you are interested and would love to collaborate, Terry.
yeah,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
keep in touch with
yeah,
that
yeah. We'll
and
get.
share
Yeah,
stuff. We have in previous episodes, we have mentioned
some books. Yeah,
some things.
not specifically about AI,
Yeah,
about technology certainly. And I have some. I do have some papers around AI and how it's making us stupid. And decreasing our learning and things. So yeah, I'll see what I can list in the comments under the LinkedIn
yeah.
Live, Terry. But I'll also reach out and Terry's here, not too far from me, just around Toronto. Um, so we'll reach out. So yeah, there's I don't think I've seen other podcasts. Although they're probably out there. I'm not really that big of a podcast person, so although I have fun doing this one with you, Simo, every week. So
So much fun.
yes, so yeah, and just looking at the time, it maybe it's time to wrap up.
Yeah.
So
I,
has
I was I was just curious about. I want to hear more about, Terry's like spending time on the concept of bionic humans and bionic organizations.
oh
That sounds exciting,
reminds me of
even
the
though
six
it's
million
scary.
dollar man and the bionic woman, because I'm of an age
Yeah,
where I remember those TV shows.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Let's get chipped.
yes, yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but yes, yes, and maybe that's where we should pick up next week, is bionic humans and bionic organizations. Maybe, what do you think?
Enhanced reality
Enhanced
in a
reality.
very heightened sense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. Thank you everyone for coming. If we haven't responded, we'll go back and look at the comments and make sure that we respond. And we hope to see you next week. Thanks. Have a great week.